Hey everyone, welcome to the Brilliant Ones podcast with me, your host, Donnie Adams, where I speak with entrepreneurs and the companies they build. We have a special guest in the building, Zohaib Patoli. Appreciate you coming, CEO and founder
Absolutely.
of Lead Origin.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Donnie.
Yeah, appreciate you coming through, man. This is nice, man. And I think what I'm super excited about is, the companies you build at such a young age, right? And
Yeah.
and you're like what, 20, 22, 23?
23.
23.
Yeah.
Bro, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the first reaction I usually get.
Wow. And you know what's so funny? I remember when I was like 23 years old, I was, just getting started in tech sales. And it wasn't until like a few years later that I realized, you know what, I think I want to do this entrepreneur thing, right? And start businesses. At what point did you realize like that for you?
Man, my entrepreneur journey was instilled in me from my father. So we come from a very entrepreneurial family. And I was an immigrant here in the United States. I came here when I was like roughly 3 years old. And my father was an entrepreneur himself. He was in the gas station business. And I saw my dad work from 8 a.m. to 3 a.m. every day for the first 4 or 5 years of my life. Uh, and he just was a very hard worker. And then, as I grew up, I was very fortunate to see, the fruits of his labor. And it showed me that if you work hard, you're capable of achieving anything you like, right? Whatever you kind of set your mind to. My father is a middle school dropout, from back home. And he's from a village in Pakistan where till this day they don't have 24-hour electricity. Till this day they don't have centralized air conditioning. Till this day they don't have centralized plumbing.
Wow.
So he comes from that. And when seeing him come to America and make his American dream come true, it instead of making me lazy, it made me want to work harder. And and we just had a very entrepreneurial family. So at a young age, man, I grew up in A-Leaf. So it was just very hustler mentality there, right?
Right.
And I started, just slanging chips and candy in like the fourth grade, and actually on the what I was doing was my dad has the gas station business, so I used to take his cigarettes and sell it at school because
Right.
everyone, when we were young, like, oh, I want to try smoking, all this dumb shit. So
Yeah.
that's I kind of started off like that, and as I grew older, I got really big into like the sneaker culture and stuff. And I started just flipping J's and things like that. So I was buying Jordans. Like when the Concords drop, I went and bought like 20 pairs of them through like connects I built over the years.
Wow.
Yeezys. Different pairs, sneakers
Right.
that I knew were going to move, right? And I
Right.
built, relationships with people at these stores. Friends used to work at like Foot Locker and stuff.
Right.
I used to plug everybody in. Like, if you took care of me, I took care of you. And that's kind of like how I really started my entrepreneurial journey. So it was just kind of like really embedded in me. And what really made it spark was roughly when I was about 15 years old, my father's business partners kind of like screwed him over and they cut him off pretty much, right? Like changed the name on the lease. Since we were immigrants, I didn't get my citizenship till I was 17 years old.
So wait, so did your father know English? Did he speak English pretty well?
No,
Okay.
no English, nothing. Like came to America, a couple $1,000, $2,000 in his pocket.
Wow.
Came a year before I came.
Yeah.
Made some sort of establishment, and we actually, me and my cousin, who's also my co-founder, business partner, and everything, I considered him my younger brothers, and it was Bilal. We lived in a 1-bedroom apartment, all 9 of us growing up.
Yeah.
Right. And like my father came, established some sort of some sort of income, brought us out, and that's kind of like his little story.
Right. And so when were you able to, did you speak English when you came to America?
English was my second language.
English was your second language.
So I went to ESL, learned English, things like that. Yeah.
Wow. So I read that you started, one of your businesses was like skinny jeans, right?
Yeah. So my first ever, I guess you'd say, product that really did well was biker jeans.
Okay.
So I was basically able to, Kanye dropped like the Yeezy ones.
Yeah.
Right at the time, this is like, man, it was a couple of years ago, man. This is when I was 13, so like a decade ago or whatnot. And he started rocking them with Balmain jeans, which were essentially biker jeans, where they're like typical, like a padding on the knee.
Right.
And no one at the time was really selling them other than Balmain. I think they were like $1,400-1,500 at that time. No one's spending. The shoes didn't cost that. Nothing you wore cost that much, right?
Of course.
So, what I did was I went on Alibaba and I was like, hey, I went and found a whole bunch of manufacturers, negotiated some pricing with like WeChat and stuff, and found someone that could make them for like $58, and I was selling them for like $150 to $200.
Right.
online, and I did really well. And yeah, I started that company when I was like 13. That was like my first legit company that I've ever built.
Wow. And that's drop shipping, pretty much.
I had inventory.
Oh, you had inventory.
It was a little different. I actually got into drop shipping after that. So my brother,
Right.
Bilal, he actually started drop shipping before me. So he was doing retail arbitrage from AliExpress to eBay.
Yeah.
And this is way back before there was any guru on Instagram selling a course for $1,000 before any of that stuff existed.
Yeah. Right.
And he figured this out, and he was like, yo, I figured out a way where we can do e-commerce and don't have to worry about inventory. Because our biggest problem was we didn't have the capital to buy a bulk load of inventory. We didn't have the capital for in-house logistics. We didn't have any of that.
Right. I read you guys were using your allowance or something like that.
Yeah. We started off like our whole business, like started off with our allowance, right? Like whatever, we were getting like $20 a month from our parents. And like, that's what we used to like feed our ads and stuff like that.
Yeah. But it was really cheap then. I think Facebook was still like in that early stage.
Yeah, it was
like testing out advertisers.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. So we actually, we've been using Facebook ads, God knows, since probably started Facebook and Google ads for a while as well. But I learned advertising through Facebook ads. And then I understood how to do like Google ads and Google ad campaigns and things like that.
Right. And so how long did you run the jean business till you realize, okay,
man, the jean business I ran so right before I probably got into high school. I started in like 7th grade, and I pretty much sold it on this website called flippa.com, where you can
I know Flippa. Before I got into drop shipping, I was looking at like businesses on Flippa that I was going to like take and like build up and sell them. And I was going to do that. But then someone kind of told me, Flippa, some of the businesses may be kind of scammy. You got to really do your due diligence. Yeah, you have to do due diligence. So I actually ended up selling that business on Flippa, and I walked away with a good hefty profit. And then we were, me and Bilal were pretty much, and how we got into like, Bilal was already doing his own thing separately. Right? Yeah, right. And pretty much how we started all this was through our allowance and our saving as 13-year-old kids, right? Like, which is non-existent, right? Yeah. So, and that's what really funded our, our savings, what really funded our few businesses. And it was just, an accumulation of buying and selling e-commerce businesses. And yeah, I mean, we pretty much after Bilal had the light bulb moment, like, yo, we don't got to hold any inventory. We don't need any logistics. All we got to do is sell the product and then tell them to ship it out. And we make the money in between. Right. So we were like, oh, cool. So if we have a great cost per acquisition, if it takes us $5 to sell it, the margin's 15, we make 10. Yeah. Right. With no visible, no work, right? Essentially, like no headache of inventory. So we started a company called Withport, and what it was essentially e-commerce creation company. And we would create different e-commerce brands. I mean, we had a brand called Maze Accessories, which was like at the time when chokers came out, we were like dropshipping chokers. Yeah. We had the one for like, urban streetwear called, we had like 8 brands for just urban streetwear. Cause I was like really good in that niche. Cause my whole, every business I did was in that niche. Right. Yeah, so we did that. And then we had like 8 brands. One was like Disturb and Hype. I think that was our first 6-figure store in sales a month. Wow. Right. And we're basically just selling like jackets, windbreakers, bomber jackets and stuff like that, just drop shipping clothing in those brands. So we created probably like 50, 60 brands, right? And like my job was always like creative direction, web development, stuff of that nature, more on the creative role. My brother was more on the technical role. So he was doing like more of the SEO optimization, the Google ads, the conversions tracking and all that, setting all that stuff up. Right. No, that stuff's not easy. I mean, I'm assuming you taught yourself that, right? Yeah. YouTube videos. Yeah. I mean, I essentially learned marketing, and my main business right now is still digital marketing. I learned it self-taught with my own dollars, with my own, for my own businesses. Right. No, man, that's impressive. And what's so funny, even now, like with there's so much resources on YouTube, you can get certifications and things, and it's easy to kind of, like anyone can kind of learn the skills of marketing. And absolutely. And, yeah, it's just like now, and what you see now too is a lot of like coding, right? A lot of people learning how to build websites, right? Because these are skills that are just in high demand today. I mean, 100%. So how were you able to identify that like early on and say, okay, I think this is something that I like doing, or did you see that as this is going to be the future? I need to get good at this. So, how we were doing digital marketing before we knew we were doing digital marketing, right?
right? So like I didn't even know what marketing was, but I was doing like Facebook.
And this was early
marketing.
Instagram too, right? Like
Yeah,
I'm assuming
this
this is like when Instagram had just first came out.
Yeah,
assuming,
yeah.
Right?
So I don't even think Instagram had video at the time.
Yeah. And you were still in high school, right?
I was in high school, yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
man. I mean, so did you get a chance to go to like high school parties or no?
No, not really. I mean, I did. I mean, obviously, you know, I had my fun.
Yeah,
I have
right.
a very good model of work hard, play harder.
Right.
But I mean, for the most part, I mean, you ask any of my childhood friends, you ask my high school counselors, my high school principals, they all know me as the guy that always got in trouble because I was always on my laptop.
Yeah.
So I just lived on my laptop, but I got away with a lot of stuff because my best friend's mom was the principal of the high school.
Oh man, this guy's lucky.
And then like my other best friend's dad was like the dean and this, that, and the other. So I was plugged in. So I was like, you know, I'd get in trouble. Yeah. I go to my boy's mom, like, she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm working," and then she obviously understood. Yeah. And you know, I just had a lot of people that supported me, so I was able to, get away with a lot of things that most people probably wouldn't have.
Yeah, no, that's good. And so you going back to saying, okay, we were doing digital marketing before we realized it was digital marketing.
Yeah.
And so at what point did you all like pivot and say, okay, I think we're going to focus heavily on just digital marketing?
So we pivoted because we damn near went broke. So my brother and I launched a brand called Wirenetic. This was like probably senior year of high school. It was basically Apple stopped making the MagSafe. And what we did was we pretty much hit up a whole bunch of manufacturers and trying to be like, hey, we need you to make MagSafe chargers and stuff like that for iPhone, MacBooks, and et cetera. Because we're like, oh wow, there's gonna be a lot of people like talking about it. There's gonna be a high search volume. There's gonna be a high intent for getting this product. So if we just market it right now, we'll just people buy because of the hype. Right. We just hurry up and do it. Because that's what we were always doing. Like we did, or every time we saw trends, we just executed. Yeah. And that's like one of my favorite things I always tell people is just do it. Don't think about it. Just do it. And you'll figure it out. Right.
And no, I 100% agree with you because I think so many times what I don't like is getting stuck in like paralysis analysis.
Yeah.
That's like my biggest fear. And the reason why is because I feel like you don't learn anything in that space. Right. And so what I like to do is if I'm starting anything, right, whether it's a business, whether or even it's just something I want to go do, I just say, you know what, I'm just going to go learn, do this because it's just go do it. And it helps you kind of get into the moment. And one of the things that I took personally was like, I took improv class. And it's such a like skill, and I highly recommend it even for business because it teaches you just how to be like, how to be, not only be uncomfortable, but learn how to think quickly on the spot, right?
Absolutely.
Right when someone gives you like a word or 100%. A character to play, you have to kind of become that character. Absolutely. So that's something that I learned. But no, I 100% agree with you on having that ability to kind of just
100%,
just kind of, you know, execute it.
Yeah, like when Nike says, just do it.
Yeah, just do it, right? Yeah. I think so many people think that it has to be perfect. It doesn't
Never
have to be perfect.
You know, whether you're working out, whether you're building a business, whether you're working on a project, whether you're thinking about asking for that raise, or you're thinking about quitting, you know, my main thing is just do it. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, you figure out.
You know, like that's just my motto, man. Like, you know, I've taken a lot of losses, but those losses honestly were just lesson learned just because I did it. You know, like even now, you know, we were recently in my current business called Lead Origin, which is a growth consulting firm predominantly focusing on digital marketing and data intelligence. We were basically just doing auditing all our stuff, and we like, oh wow, we was about $350,000 in just trying things out this year so far. Wow. And we're like, you know, most people would be like, that's ridiculous. You could, you know, my operations managers are like, you could put that in real estate and you would have, I'm like, hey, I learned something I didn't know.
Yeah. Right.
And there is a cost behind it, but the lessons, I believe 100% the lessons learned are invaluable.
Yeah. You learn so much by just doing it, you know, and it's better to, I'd rather ask for forgiveness than ask for permission.
Absolutely.
That's our motto.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, man. So we pivoted into the digital marketing space because we had the Wirenetic store and we lost. Well, I don't know. So I was 17 at the time. Bilal was 15 or 16.
So this is your senior year, right?
Yeah, senior year of high school.
So are you thinking about college, or are you just thinking about, okay, I'm just going to fully go?
I did dual credit in high school, so I was already in college high school. So I was going to HCC part-time for the most part. I wasn't really in campus much in high school. Yeah. Because in my school, we had dual credit classes. So I was able to take community college classes. So I graduated with like damn near my associate's degree. Wow. High school, right off the bat from high school. Yeah. Right. So college I was like, oh yeah, it was never like something like my parents always wanted me to do it. So it's like something I was like, I'm going to do it. until I couldn't do it. Right. That's kind of like where my falling on point was. Like I dropped out a year and a half into U of H my last semester because at that time it was either scale my business or go to school. Right. And I was just like, I'm going to continue scaling my business. I can pick this back up at 25, 26, 27 and finish and get my degree.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really, man. College was just like, yeah, if I need it, I'll do it.
Right. So now you and your cousin pivoted and you guys started SnapWeb.
Yeah, that was our first agency. So basically Wirenetic was, man, it was at a big loss, man. So I was 17, so I wasn't 18. And when we were filling out the merchant processor information, we were filling it out under my cousin's mom's name, right? And then basically what happened was the store did really well. We did about almost a little bit over 950,000 revenue within our first 3 months. Wow. And what ended up happening about, let's say like 60 days into it, the payment processor flagged us because it was like unusual activity. They're like, yo, we need to like inspect, right? And at that time we had like a very small warehouse. Like it was one of those storage facilities with like a warehouse door and like a little office, right? And we just kept like our hot dropship products there for like, you know, if anybody wants to like a quick order or stuff like that, or if we need to take it somewhere to take in returns and things. Right. So we utilized that little space, like $500 a month as like our little office warehouse type of deal. And so they were like, oh, we need to check out your warehouse. We need this, we need that. And like, you know, it says you're a woman, but you have a male voice, like a whole bunch of stuff. And basically they just audited us and were like, yeah, this is not who they think they're saying they are. And we were flagged as high risk. So what they ended up doing was like returning all the money back. Wow. And we've already shipped out like majority of the orders. On top of that, we've spent almost like 200,000 in ad spend, right? And yeah, we pretty much like our account got depleted, right? So we went from thinking that yo, this store is gonna make, oh yeah, we made it. Like this is it. Like this, like we've never scaled a store that big. I mean, I think the closest store that we did that was that fast in 3 months, maybe did like 150,000 in revenue, 160,000 in revenue. This was like, oh, we did it. We finally did it. It's what people talk about, blah, blah, blah. And this is like when dropship was starting to become a really big thing. Like Dan DeSilva just dropped a course, this, that, the other, you know, and we were like, oh, we finally made it, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, we mean pretty much like we were, you know, deep in the hole. Really big for, you know, how old we were, and we're like, shit, like, we gotta figure something out because so my father got screwed over, and my cousin, he was kind of like the primary source of income in his household. So it's like a lot of things depended on us at that time at a young age. So we're like, oh shit, we got to figure out the next move. Like we gotta keep this going. Choice, we got, you know, we can't sit here and dwell upon it. We got to move on, right? So we tried a few other e-commerce stores and stuff like that, but at that time, dropshipping got very competitive and stuff, and we were just like, you know what, you know, we've done this, obviously, like we've just taken this. Let's try something new. And, you know, we're like, all right, what is going to cost us the least amount of money to start with the highest amount of upside? Right. And we're like, we're really good at digital marketing. We've done this for like the last 5 years, last 2-3 years. Let's like go big in it. Like, let's just do that as a service. Right. And like, you know, obviously like, and at that time we used to listen to Gary Vee, and his big business is a digital marketing agency too. Right. And I was like, you know what, like, you know, this is it. Like, let's try this out. Let's, you know, and not knowing like what a service-based company requires, we said fuck it and did it. And we started SnapWeb with we started SnapWeb, and then we had like a third co-founder whose marketing agency we kind of joined arms with, and we kind of merged, but we didn't really merge, but we merged, right? And we started SnapWeb like that, and that was like our first digital marketing agency.
Wow. And you guys grew it to what? Like,
yeah, we had like over, you know, if you look at it combined, you know, over 250 people employed, 4 offices around the world, you know, almost 10 million in rev. Yeah. So it was you know, it was a you know, pretty large enterprise that we built in a course of about four years. Wow.
Man, it's your 4-year degree right there. Right?
Yeah, and that's what I, you know, always joke about, because when what happened with SnapUp, we actually we exited the company. We basically walked away from it because we had a very we just didn't have the best partnership, and it ended up becoming a very toxic work environment for me, and I was like losing hair, and like I was like, honestly, I would say I was depressed for sure, and it was exhausting a lot of energy out of me. So like a year before I actually pivoted, I started COVID testing centers, like when COVID was peaking. Wow. I started COVID testing centers, and then that company got acquired, and then we started
wait, so even going back to the COVID testing, how do you start a COVID testing center?
Just start it.
No, but like what protocols?
So the thing is, you need an NPI license, and then you also need a doctor on site and stuff. So, I had at that time, it was like 3 years into like in the business. We already had so many clients in healthcare, this that. I had enough resources to be able to execute. So, partnered with a great team of guys, and we started some, and they did very well, and we were early in the game, and we ended up, if we saw a good opportunity, we took it. So,
especially out here in Houston too. I mean,
we had we had a lot of good locations throughout Houston, like drive-through locations. So it was a very low to start it off and stuff, and we did it before anyone else did it. We were probably the first private COVID testing centers.
Wow. No, man, that's impressive.
Yeah.
It's so funny too, especially hopefully something like that doesn't happen again, right? I mean, but you're able to take something that's during the pandemic, right? And most people were losing jobs. They were, out of work, and it was a crazy time.
Yeah.
And here you have a bright idea as just being an entrepreneur and say, hey, you know what? I think it's a good idea to start, testing.
Yeah. We did the testing centers. We bought and sold PPE.
Yeah.
We started a disposable vape brand. We opened up I own 15 smoke shops. So I opened up my first smoke shop in the pandemic as well.
Yeah.
And I probably opened up.
You're into vaping?
I don't vape personally.
Oh, okay.
So I actually don't vape or anything. I don't do any recreational smoking, like the occasional hookah at a friend's birthday party.
Right.
But I didn't. But I just saw it as a very low hanging fruit in the retail space, because it's a very neglected space, right? Because if you go to predominantly if you go to just smoke shops, they're very shitty built out. They have just feel like you're going to a crack house. Right. It's shitty carpets, bullshit, showcases, no proper inventory tracking, no professionalism.
Right.
And I was just I went to a few smoke shops. I was like, well, how come no one has done this right? And then coming from grew up in the gas station business, right? I saw gas stations evolve from these shitty gas stations that you're just shady as shit, and then now a lot of gas stations now is amazing, Buc-ee's for an example, right? They're there's a cult following for Buc-ee's.
Oh,
right?
yeah, I love Buc-ee's.
And then
Buc-ee's is great.
Yeah, right. And then so many other people have built these really nice and vibrant and welcoming and aesthetically pleasing gas stations. So I was like, I'm gonna do that to the smoke shops. And that's what I did pretty much. And I built my motto was I want to be the Chick-fil-A in terms of service and Apple Store in terms of the look and feel.
Yeah.
And we opened up our first smoke shop in Fulshire, Texas, and this very just not very populated place. But I knew that it's gonna, this was a great location, great visibility, great income, all the different variables I look at when I choose a location. And I was like, this is it. And we opened that location up. Until this day, it's my highest performing store out of all 15 stores.
Wow. No, that's impressive. I think one of the things too you see a lot is not only in smoke shops, but even in certain areas, you see a big thing with I'll say what's I'm trying to think of, I can't even think of the word right now. Certain shopping centers, right?
Yeah.
And were you focusing primarily on just those shopping centers, right? Or as far as shopping centers, making sure you have the right location for real estate?
Yeah, so I mean, one of the biggest thing you're told is location.
Right.
But a lot of people usually mean that visibility, how to get in, how to get out, this, that, and the other. And obviously you gotta find a practical location. But honestly, what I did was I went on Google, I saw the search volume for because you can't really see the search volume for smoke shop, vapes, and stuff like that. Right. But I was just looking, I forgot what I did. A few different just to understand the demand of the area.
Yeah,
it was a very good average income was 120 a year. Average household was 400, stuff like that. So I knew it's a very affluent, and it's a very affluent neighborhood. It's there's nothing to do there. It's 30 minutes away, 40 minutes away from the city of Houston, and there was at that time no smoke shop in that area for 6 miles. 6 mile radius. So I was just I'm gonna bite the bullet and do it. And the centers, I mean, of course I always look for more modern, up-to-date centers, because our brand it has to resonate with our brand.
Right.
We have very premium build outs. I spend upwards of $100,000 just building out that store, because we do really nice flooring. We make it very contemporary and good light fixtures, and of course all these things have associated costs to them.
Yeah, of No, that's pretty neat. And then so how did like Lead Origin come about?
So after we left SnapWeb, right, we were like, we need to see. The thing is, whatever I needed to execute, I needed a strong marketing arm, right? I'm a firm believer that marketing is, you can have a terrible product, but if you market it right, you'll make money.
Yeah.
Right. And if you have a great product and you have great marketing, you build a lifelong brand. Right. And then obviously, like, why all these companies, why all these large enterprises, these Fortune 500 consumer products, and even in the B2B space, why these companies are constantly trying to be in front of your face is because they want you to, it's just human, it's just science, right? Psychology.
Yeah,
right?
psychology.
To get someone to buy, they got to, on average on a consumer product, they have to see your product 9 times.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like, whatever I do, I need a marketing arm. Right. So what I wanted to do was Lead Origin started because there's 2 reasons why we started Lead Origin. We started Lead Origin. We didn't want to just be another consulting firm. Actually, we're in the process of building out a SaaS. So Lead Origin is pretty much transform into a software company. But we were wanting to kind of like make a frictionless digital marketing agency where kind of like an e-commerce and just super frictionless, and everything's like managed online, and you pretty much deal with everything very seamlessly without having to, because typically when you're trying to find a marketing agency, right, you're going to go on to Google and search digital marketing, best digital marketing agencies. You're going to get a whole bunch of marketing agents. You're going to do your due diligence, look at the reviews, look at their G2, look at their, all the different sub-sites for reviews. And you're going to see, all right, great. What is, are they good or not, right? And then you're gonna look at their work, you're gonna look at their portfolio, you're gonna look at their case studies, this, that, and the other, and then you're gonna contact them. Now their salesperson gonna reach out, and you're gonna talk to a salesperson. You're gonna sit there and they're gonna pitch you, intro call, and they're gonna pitch you, then you're gonna close, you're gonna get onboarded. The onboarding's gonna take 2-3 weeks of all of these 50, 60 logins and this, that, and the other. They're gonna share over and share these assets and that, and then they have to intake that and organize it, and they're gonna go and review everything and then make a strategy and then tell you the strategy, get approved. Like, it's like, for something that's supposed to be so innovative, it is such a something that's supposed to be so innovative is such a lengthy process and like just so old school. Right. So we're like, we've done this for so long now. We gotta make the agency of the future. We can go on the website. You like us, you can write that in there, sign up for all of our services. You plug in with somebody and you can pretty much go through the whole process. So we want, our biggest thing was like, all right, cool. We need to start an agency to be like the marketing machine for all of our other organizations. And then because we actually want to revolutionize the space. Digital marketing is growing just as fast as the AI industry is growing, right? More and more businesses need digital marketing. There's 29 million businesses in the United States, right? At one point or another, digital marketing will no longer be a luxury. It's the only way you're going to be able to get your business out there, right? And that might take 5-10 years, but that's going to happen. And it is what I know. It's who I am. That's what most people know me for. So I was like, I can't just leave the space. So I started Lead Origin for those reasons. Because I also have other plans. Like, I'm still conceptualizing a lot of things, but I want to be able to, I want to be able to build out SaaS, like how we were doing with e-commerce, but I want to do it with SaaS now, because the SaaS valuations are insane. These SaaS companies go for 5 to 10x.
Right. I mean, my background's in SaaS.
And awesome.
So that's how I got started. I got started selling.
Yeah, you were in tech sales, right?
Huh?
You were in tech sales?
Yeah, I was in tech sales for awesome.
So
enterprise tech sales.
Awesome.
Selling to large, SaaS applications to Fortune 500 companies, and that's a good space. And so, where are you looking to, like, as far as your go-to-market strategy? Are you looking to build out a sales arm? You already have one.
Yeah, I already have a sales arm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have a small but mighty team right now. We're 3 people. But I mean, it's small right now, but we're gonna grow it. Right. We're we've grown very fast at Lead Origin. Yeah. The thing is also, you got to remember, like, I'm not just starting an agency to make money. I'm starting an agency for my businesses. Yeah. So quality is very important. Right. And like, we did over $1 million in revenue our first 6 months. Wow. Lead Origin, right? And we've scaled, like, we're at 43 people right now on the team. And we've been operating for 18 months only. And we are managing over, north of 100 clients that own probably like 200, 300 businesses combined. Yeah. Right. So we've grown really fast, but we also have to ensure that quality is being reflected. And so we're like, at the moment, we're kind of like, in terms of sales, like, we have a very strong sales background. So in sales, we kind of like slowed sales down at the moment, so we can fix the other stuff before we, commit to more work.
Yeah. Right. And I know even, are you guys focusing on like SMB, like mid-market size companies?
Yeah,
What do your companies
SMB.
range from?
We want to start off with SMB. The SMB space is heavily neglected,
Yeah.
and then definitely after that, I want to kick some legacy products out of the market.
Yeah. The SMB space is crazy, especially out here in Houston. There's so many. I mean, Houston has so many small businesses, right? And a lot of them are even behind the 8 ball when it comes down to digital marketing.
Yeah.
And it's something that you, again, eventually like 10, 20 years from now, it's a necessity that these organizations need to have.
Exactly.
Because it's just like, it's kind of like, it's just like going back, back in the day when our parents wore certain clothing, right? And the big, the baggy tees and all that stuff. Now everyone's like wearing skin tight jeans and muscle shirts and stuff like that. And it's just crazy just to see like how things evolve over time, right? And even now to be even in this space to see, okay, wow, it's going to get more competitive. Like even when you see with TikTok, right? And so what's your perspective about, applications like TikTok?
I love them.
Right. It's a great application. But what do you see it over the next like 10, 15 years? Or you think something bigger is going to come that's going to outtake TikTok?
Absolutely. I mean, Vine existed at one point, and Vine was the best
Vine was
video
great.
sharing
I love
platform.
Vine was so nice and fun.
And it's created so many, powerful influencers that still exist till this day, like the Paul brothers, King Bach, and that's just some people. There's dozens of people that have made millions of dollars through Vine, and they've just, they were able to grow and pivot and understand the market and change with the market.
Right.
So, I just think, there's gonna be somebody bigger. It's gonna be, you have to be very naive to not think so, right? Who, I don't know. Right. But I have a folder on my phone where it says apps to watch. I've had TikTok there for quite some time before the pandemic. Oh, really? And I've been watching, I had TikTok, I had Thriller, I had a few other video sharing apps, but I knew TikTok because of the name TikTok. It was just I thought it was going to really scale up. And I was, when it started blowing up, I was so happy.
It blew up heavily during the pandemic. Everybody was on TikTok, making TikToks.
Everyone was on TikTok, watching TikTok. The thing with short format video, it's one of the best ways to share content, right? And at the end of the day, digital marketing's backbone is content, right? Content is king. That's just what it is. Yeah. And TikTok allows you to have, what I love about TikTok, what I like about TikTok is a lot of people, and a lot of brands, of course there's and traditionally, when you wanted to do some sort of content, it'd be a commercial that's going to be televised to OTT, right? So you're going to go on all these different channels, that's where you make these heavy production videos. But the thing is, we have clients that make TikTok ads from their front facing camera on their iPhone that generate a ROAS of 15x. So they're like, wow, I just can't. I'm like, well, the market's changed. People don't, necessarily always need heavily produced media content. It's so accessible for people to really scale their businesses and their brands and et cetera, because social media, it's supposed to be organic, right? It's just supposed to be, it is what it is, not supposed to be really produced and stuff, right? So it allows a good entry level for a lot of individuals that didn't have that ability to now be able to, because when I started, you couldn't just take a front video and run ads on it and get 15x ROAS. We had to spend $2,000-$3,000 to get a commercial made for our YouTube ads and then push that commercial out. And then 4 or 5 years ago, the market changed.
Yeah. So what do you think? What's your thoughts about Snapchat? You think Snapchat's still going to continue to grow?
No, I think it's going to die out. It's already dying out, right? It's already losing users. I mean, the thing I look at is how many people, I just look at the data, and based off the data, I just don't think Snapchat, unless they do some sort of pivoting change unless they do some substantial change to their organization or to their product line and et cetera, they might survive. But I mean, he should have sold it when he could. That's what I would say.
Right. So now entrepreneurs getting started in any space. What platforms do you recommend for them to kind of really sell their business?
At the moment, the best one for organic exposure is going to be TikTok.
Yeah,
it's just what it is.
Yeah.
Facebook's algorithm, Instagram's algorithm, all these other platforms, algorithms are so heavily based on paid exposure. It's just, you can't go viral anymore, right? It's just what it is.
Right. But with TikTok, you think it's still in its beta testing
it's
area?
It's gonna get harder and harder, just like any other application. It starts off, everyone goes on, everyone gets a lot of exposure, all the creators love it. Yeah. And then as any business, it is, if you look at it, people call it, they're becoming greedy. YouTube's becoming greedy, the descale monetization, etc. But they're just running like a company. At the end of the day, they have to make money, and where they see there are leverage, they're going to take advantage of it. I would, like it's just business at the end of the day, right? Honestly, yeah, of course, if I saw a backlash, I wouldn't, YouTube and they got a backlash, they didn't give a shit, right? I would, try to do something to get in the middle with my creators, but that's just me. But they're operating like a business, so we can't really be mad. They're doing what they have to do to survive.
Yeah, no, that's right. So what kind of challenges did you have, like building Lead Origin?
A lot, man. It was a lot harder than I thought, man. It was, we started off, and we still have these troubles. We still learn so much. Like I've probably made like three big, changes this week that are going to change the future of the company.
Yeah.
Right. So there's just a lot, like it's a lot, like it's Lead Origin, man. It's been good, dude. It's been a lot of work. Then the last year and a half of my life has been very consumed by it. I'm spending 12, 15, 16 hours a day working. Yeah. Right. But it's like my backbone. Right. So I know this is like my foundation. I have to make it perfect in order for me to scale everything else. The challenges, I mean, in terms of challenges, everything from hiring people, like we're in Houston, Texas, right? Right. Houston, Texas is not a tech-oriented city. Yeah, right? No, not there's nothing. We don't have VCs like that. I think one of the founders of Cart.com, which is one of fastest growing, or they raised like $400 million. They're like this e-commerce, all-in-one e-commerce platform that helps e-commerce businesses, everything from marketing to their website to logistics to shipping, etc. And he also founded like Arctic and the Lion Group as well, and he started like a new VC at the Cannon over there in Alpha I-10. But Houston's just not a tech city. It's not a tech-friendly city. I mean, I've been part of Station Houston. I've been part of all the little startup stuff.
Have you heard about the Ion?
Yeah, I just toured that space for an office there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cool space.
Yeah, it's just not, I don't think it's gonna work out. It's not gonna work out. Like it's like you go, there's like Chevron's the biggest office space. What the fuck does Chevron have to do with startups, right? Like, there's just, it's just not gonna work out. Like, Houston, countless time over time, they try to do these little things. Doesn't work out. Yeah. Things, there has to be fundamental changes from the top down.
Wait, what about Austin? I mean, Austin's a huge tech hub.
I'm moving to Austin, actually.
Oh, you're moving to Austin?
Yeah, I have a lease signed and everything. So we're actually moving. So we're going to be moving Lead Origin's corporate headquarters to Austin. And we are actually, at the current moment, we are moving our operational headquarters to an office off of the Galleria area.
Yeah, no, I got to go to Austin in a few weeks. I love Austin. Austin's a great place.
Austin's dope, man. I love going out there. It's more of my vibe than Houston is.
Yeah.
There's a lot more things to do in Austin, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, you grew up here, right?
I grew up here.
To me, I feel like Houston has so much.
You didn't grow up in Houston?
No, I grew up in Florida. So I'm originally from Tampa, Florida.
Cool.
Yeah. So I moved to Houston about like 2.5 years ago.
Oh, shoot. How do you like it?
I love it. Houston's great. This is a great place. I mean, Austin's cool too. But I don't know. It's not really like my kind of city. I don't know. Maybe from a tech perspective, yeah. Like I came to Texas because of technology, but I don't know. Austin's just a different kind of like a hit or miss for me.
Yeah, no, I like Austin. I'm a very I like being outdoors. I like the lake. I like hiking. Right. I like the patio bars they have there.
Yeah, it's cool.
I like the walkable. I really like how it's a walkable city. And Houston isn't. I hate commuting. I hate driving. I feel like driving's the biggest waste of my time.
Yeah, but what's your thoughts about, was Dallas on the radar? Dallas has a lot of like financial companies.
Yeah, Dallas is really good for corporate.
Yeah.
Right? It's really good for like, if you're starting like if I was starting like a financial services company where I was doing outsourced CFO services, if I was doing like a healthcare startup or something like that,
Dallas would
might go to Dallas. But Dallas. But what we're trying to do, I feel like Austin to be the best city, to be able to execute like my vision, and that's kind of like why I chose to move there.
So would you recommend like most startups go to? Because I co-founded a startup too, and I'm thinking about when we open up an office, like what would make sense? Would it make sense to be?
Well, go where
go to Austin.
Yeah.
Or I'm just trying to think.
I would say go where your talent's at. Go where your customers at.
Right.
That's gonna be your best decision. Where you can hire the best people to work for your exact startup. What city that supports your kind of startups.
Yeah.
Like it's sitting in Houston. One thing I realized was, man, should have started like an oil and gas startup, or I should have started a healthcare startup. Yeah. Something where I would have a better support because we have a very strong backbone of traditional business in it, or a real estate startup. But I did one of the things that if I could go back and change, I'm not regretful ever, but if I go back and change, I would have made my company more oriented towards the city that I'm. That way I can scale quicker due to the resources that I have available, like talent, support, grants, mentors, etc. In Houston, like till this day, like I have a lot of amazing mentors in my life that help and navigate me and help me make decisions better. But I still don't have someone that has a strong background in technology, right? Because I, as connected as you can get, there's just not a lot of tech people here in Houston.
Right. And I agree with that. I think, I had a friend of mine say the same thing. It's different here. I mean, I don't really bump into people that are in the technology space. Right. And so it is different, right? Because like I know in Austin, everyone has a startup. Everyone's in
everyone's in like working. You can go to any bar, you'll overhear someone talking about something. Right?
Yeah, something like that, right? Here, you don't really hear because everyone does so many different things, and it's just like that. I think that's the big difference, right? There isn't like a strong tech presence here in Houston. And so you think by moving to Austin, you're going to have the right support, the right resources?
Absolutely. Now, being in the right environment, I'll have other people that can I don't something happens in my company and I want to distress and I go out, I can at least, I don't have anyone talk about it, right? Because no one will understand my pain points.
Right.
But no one, there's, at least they don't understand, they can at least resonate slightly with it because they're in a very similar environment or in a similar industry or such.
Right. Yeah, no. So are you all going to do, I'm assuming you're all on a hybrid schedule or more so like hybrid, you got people in the office some days and work remote work or fully remote?
I have so people, all my staff in Houston reports to our Houston office every day.
Yeah.
And I have remote staff that's from East Coast to West. I mean, I have a team, I have people in San Diego. I already have team members in Austin. I have team members in Ohio. I have team members in Massachusetts. I have team members in Florida. Yeah. So our team is kind of scattered at the moment.
Okay. Nice. No, so yeah. And I think when you go to Austin?
Our goal is Q1. We were supposed to be actually already be moving into our new offices here in Houston, but due to construction delays and stuff, we haven't been able to, and that's been pushed back by a month. So right now, my fingers crossed on Q1 of next year.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good point. So really appreciate you taking the time to come out here. It's been great chatting with you. So where people can find you?
Absolutely, man. Everyone can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Zohaib Patoli, LinkedIn, Zohaib Patoli, Zohaib Patoli, and just take out the HIB for my social media accounts.
Cool. And then one last thing, what advice would you give to, aspiring entrepreneurs?
Just do it. Just like what Nike says. I mean, I know it's scary, of course. I mean, I've helped so many and consulted so many of my friends, my clients, etc., starting their entrepreneurial journey, but just do it. Don't overthink it. Start off small and scale it up. If you have a job, part-time, whatnot. And honestly, that's just my motto in life. Just do it.
Cool. You hear that, folks? Just do it. The brilliant ones.